House Speaker Mike Johnson, R. Louisiana, secured re-election on Friday in a dramatic vote with initial opposition from Representatives Ralph Norman, RSC, and Keith Self, R. Texas, who later changed their votes after private assurances from Johnson and encouragement from President-elect Trump. Johnson's victory along party lines marks the start of his first full term as Speaker, solidifying Republican unity ahead of Congress' certification of Trump's election win. You've been paying attention to the chaos surrounding the House Speaker election. You know that Mike Johnson's re-election isn't just another political move. It's a massive W for traditional leadership and sticking to what actually matters. With all the drama that went down, Johnson's win is like a reset button, reminding us that sticking to foundational principles is the way forward. This isn't just politics. It's about protecting what America stands for in an era that's totally obsessed with change for the sake of change. The road to Johnson's re-election was far from smooth. Representatives Thomas Massie of Kentucky, Keith Self of Texas, and Ralph Norman of South Carolina initially opposed his candidacy, signaling a broader frustration within the Republican Party. But their concerns were not simply about policy. They were rooted in the deeper ideological divide between those who still believe in America's founding principles and those who have been swayed by the promises of globalism and progressive politics. Norman, in particular, expressed concerns about Johnson's commitment to championing the Trump agenda. But it wasn't until Johnson gave assurances that he would indeed fight for the principles of nationalism and traditionalism that Norman shifted his vote. This is more than a political maneuver. It's a reflection of a broader desire within the party to return to the values that made America strong in the first place. From a reactionary perspective, this battle for the Speaker's gavel represents a crucial moment in the ongoing struggle between individual autonomy and the need for cohesive, hierarchical leadership. The shifting of votes, the closed-door negotiations, and the tactical alliances formed behind the scenes are all part of the social contract. The delicate balance between the rights of the individual and the responsibilities of leadership to preserve the nation's values. Johnson's victory symbolizes the realization that effective leadership requires a commitment to order and tradition, not endless compromise. Those who initially resisted his bid, including Norman, eventually came to understand that the true fight was not for personal ideology, but for the preservation of national unity. Johnson's promises to enact real change and restore the traditional values of the Republican Party were enough to convince them that he was the leader who could best uphold the national interest. There is no understating the role President Donald Trump played in Johnson's victory. Trump, ever the champion of nationalism and traditionalism, threw his full support behind Johnson, calling the process a continuation of his Make America Great Again movement. And it's clear why. Trump's vision of a strong, sovereign America that resists globalist pressures aligns with the very principles Johnson represents. Trump's backing was pivotal in uniting the party's factions. His influence, combined with Johnson's own assurances to conservatives, solidified the coalition that ultimately secured his victory. This was more than just a political endorsement. It was a statement that traditionalist leadership, grounded in national pride and cultural values, remains the guiding force of the Republican Party in a time when globalism, progressive agendas, and political correctness threaten the fabric of American society. Johnson's leadership offers a path forward that doesn't sacrifice our nation's identity at the altar of compromise. Johnson's re-election also signals a much-needed return to order and hierarchy in American politics. For too long, the political system has been bogged down by inefficiency, infighting, and an unwillingness to stand firm on principle. The drawn-out speaker elections of the past few years, especially under Kevin McCarthy's leadership, showcased the deep divisions within the Republican Party, leading to paralysis and dysfunction. But with Johnson now firmly in place as Speaker, there's hope that the party can move forward with a leader who understands that true strength comes from unity and respect for tradition. The Republican Party, and by extension, the country, needs leadership that doesn't just go along with the status quo, but actively works to restore national pride, cultural identity, and the foundational values that once made America a beacon of strength in the world. It's like Tottenham's upcoming match against Newcastle this Saturday. It has probably already aired by the time this video is done, but I digress. Both are about finding stability after tough times. Spurs, struggling with injuries and defensive issues, need a win to restore their pride, much like the GOP hopes Johnson will do for the party. Meanwhile, Newcastle's current form under Eddie Howe reminds us that steady leadership can bring success, And Johnson's victory is a chance for the GOP to show they've got it together and can deliver on their promises.